We have breaking news to bring you tonight from the University of Idaho.
Students are being told a staff member may be armed and dangerous.
Our coverage begins right now on Murrow News 8.
Studios on the campus of Washington State University. This is Murrow News 8.
Good evening, I'm Lindsay Jensen.
And I'm Brady Frederick. Welcome to Murrow News 8.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of the University of Idaho, where students and staff are being told one of their own may be armed and dangerous.
This morning, the university's emergency alert system activated, sending a message to its subscribers that stated a staff member may have a gun. Denise Bennett has been barred from Moscow campus. Recent admittance to the police of meth use and access to firearms. If seen on campus, call 911.
Murrow News 8 has learned Bennett is in fact a university staff member. She has served as a tenured associate professor in the School of Journalism and Mass Media since 2006.
According to Moscow Pullman Daily News, Bennett was placed on administrative leave last Thursday. She has been an outspoken critic of the university in recent weeks. How this latest revelation coming from UI factors in meth and a firearm is still unclear. For more, we go live to the University of Idaho and our own Justin Spinney. Justin, what is the main concern right now with school officials?
Good evening, Brady. Well, the main concern, of course, with school officials today at the University of Idaho is the safety of the students. There has been a heavy police presence here at the University of Idaho in making sure that students are going to remain safe. Overall, most students do feel as though they're safe from who I talked to today. No one that I talked to has skipped class today or knows of anyone who skipped class because they felt unsafe. Earlier today, we talked to Jody Walker, the Director of Communications for the U of I.
Evolve and change, and we hope that everyone will have heightened awareness.
And students were planning a protest earlier today where it was going to be a silent sit-in. But tonight, they plan on meeting here at the Teaching and Learning Center directly behind me to once again form a little bit of a louder protest, this time to hopefully get school officials to notice that the journalism students here at the University of Idaho feel underfunded and mistreated and back their professor on some of the things that are going on here at the University of Idaho. Justin Spinney, Murrow News 8, back to you.
Thank you, Justin. Despite the recent scares, some students say they still support her. Students are planning a walkout tonight protesting for the reinstatement of Bennett. Ryan Benson, a University of Idaho film and student walkout organizer, says students agree with Bennett's stance. He says the journalism program remains underfunded and that grants are being used elsewhere.
Students involved in the walkout tonight believe that without Bennett's voice on campus, they won't get the production equipment they deserve.
When we come back, a voter-backed initiative is already being changed by state lawmakers.
And we'll tell you which Cougar football coaches received a contract extension today, when Murrow News 8 continues.
Listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun? Whoa, 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 whoa. Can you feel the sun?
A gun reform already approved by voters is being altered by state lawmakers this week. Initiative 940, a measure passed last November that would make it easier to prosecute police officers for negligent shootings, has been changed to include new language.
The bill passed earlier today by the state Senate. It would change the interpretation for when officers are allowed to use deadly force.
The changes by state lawmakers include a test for when judges interpreting a specific case, including asking judges to answer whether or not another officer acting reasonably in the same situation would use deadly force too.
The bill was passed by the House last week and approved by the Senate. It will now go to Governor Jay Inslee for his signature. The original components of the initiation campaign say they support the changes made in this bill.
A Pullman winery is being investigated for owning an unlicensed craps table. Mary Sellers Winery could be charged with a felony for owning a gambling device without being licensed by the Washington State Gambling Commission. State investigators raided the winery on Monday with a warrant. They found a craps table in a non-public area of the winery, as well as dice, chips, and $14.
When we come back, a quick look into the weather for the week and if snow is in the forecast.
And how much longer Coach Leach and defensive coordinator Tracy Clayes plan to stay in Pullman when Murrow News 8 returns.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
Welcome back to Murrow News 8. I'm Ryan Peerboom with your sports update. Two WSU football coaches are going to stick around Pullman a bit longer. Head coach Mike Leach and defensive coordinator Tracy Clayes both signed contract extensions earlier today. Leach's extension adds another year to his contract, which now runs through 2023. Clayes' extension is good for 3 years and keeps him under contract through the 2021 season. These extensions come fresh off one of the best football seasons in WSU history, where the Cougars won a school record 11 games and finished 10th in the final AP poll. The Cougar men's basketball team traveled to Eugene to take on the Oregon Ducks on Sunday. But the road trip wasn't pleasant for the Cougars. WSU led 39-35 at halftime, but the second half was all Oregon. The Ducks outscored the Cougars 43-19 in the second half on their way to a 20-point win. Freshman forward Louis King led the charge for the Ducks with 22 points, and senior forward Robert Franks led the Cougars with 19. The Cougars host UCLA tonight at 7 p.m. in Beasley Coliseum. While the men were on the road Sunday, the WSU women's basketball team hosted ninth-ranked Oregon State. The Beavers jumped out to an early lead and never looked back, controlling the game and beating the Cougars 52-35. OSU guard Michaela Pivich led all scorers with 19 points, while Chanel Molina tallied 12 for the Cougars. The Cougars travel to Los Angeles on Friday at 7 p.m. to play UCLA. That's your look at sports. Over to Brady Frederick with a look at the local forecast.
Thanks, Ryan. Well, in Pullman, we've been lucky. We've had a dry spell for a little while, but this weekend, that's going to be coming to a close. Today, we were pretty lucky. It was only partly cloudy, high of 36 degrees. But tomorrow, it'll be up to 45 degrees, an entire 10 degrees higher. As we look around the state of Washington, on the west side, it's getting up into the 50 degrees, really warming up as we hit the end of January. Down in central Washington, it's been pouring. Yakima and Tri-Cities, both pretty cold, close to snow. And then as we get up into Spokane and Pullman, Spokane's raining and Pullman's not, so lucky us. As we look at our weekly forecast, like I said, Thursday it's going to be a lot warmer tomorrow. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the precipitation is coming through to ruin your weekend. We're going to be seeing high chances of rain on Friday and Saturday, and a chance of snow on Sunday. Perfect weather for you to sit inside and watch the Super Bowl because you're not going to want to come out. Luckily, once the week gets going again on Monday, it'll be dry again, but it will be back down to a cool 30 degrees. That's all we have for weather. Back to you. All right, we'll be back after the break.
Oh, listen now. Can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now. Can you feel the sun? Whoa. 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 Can you feel the sun?
From Pullman Police Department, Detective Heidi Lamley won Law Enforcement Officer of the Year. In 2018, she served as primary investigator in 14 different sexual assault cases. She has worked in the department for over 14 years. The Greek Council put on a showcase for the multicultural chapters at WSU. Murrow News 8 reporter Gunnar Peterson takes us to the Cub Auditorium where students pay tribute to their cultural heritage.
Organizations presenting on stage while fraternities and sororities get together to showcase their principles and ideals. Jackie Herrera for the United Greek Council says why she enjoys these displays of diversity on campus.
My favorite part about these events that we put on, honestly, is just seeing people like other organizations cheering on for each other. Like, you really see the unity in the multicultural community.
But what made this community showcase so different? The moves and salutes they did for the crowd. Council VP Francisco Ochoa says the salutes some organizations performed on stage were steeped in tradition and showed the values of each institution. Others decided to engage in some creative routines, choreographed themselves.
I would say dance routine is what a lot of people would kind of say. Throughout that from what I know, from like what I think it kind of shows, just the unity that the people in the individual organizations have within each other, and just kind of showing like, hey, like this is who we are, and like come out and check us out,
Greek members like Angel Perez participated during the showcase, demonstrating his and his fraternity's support for other organizations on stage.
For those who identify with a multicultural background, that there are options for them to feel more at home if that's what they are looking for. There are resources here to help them not feel so separated from the community here at WSU.
The United Greek Council has many chapters, and they keep the door open for people of many different backgrounds to have a home on campus. Gunnar Peterson, Murrow News 8.
Wow, that was quite the show. I wish I had those dance moves.
Honestly, the United Greek Council, those chants and dances that they do are, for one, incredible, something to be seen, and there's really nothing quite like it in any other organization on campus.
Yeah, it looks like a great way to bring people together, that's for sure. So, some snow in the forecast there, Brady, huh?
Yeah, it's hopefully it'll make it to Pullman. It'd be a good weekend to go sledding down Thompson Flats.
There you go. Yeah, I like the idea of bundling up and watching the Super Bowl. You don't need to go outside. That's the positive with the weather the way it is.
All right, well, thank you for watching tonight. Join us every weeknight at 7 and 10 for Pullman's only nightly newscast.
Have a great evening, and don't forget to follow Murrow News 8 on Facebook and Twitter.
Good night, Pullman.